after us for being a couple minutes late. That means something to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just can't get started, there's always something. But
Always something. That's kind of life. Well, but here's the
yeah.
thing. I feel like you're a very punctual individual.
Yes.
I'm a very punctual individual. I get stressed out if I am running late, if things aren't on my schedule. But such is life, right? So if we're
Yeah.
running just 5 minutes behind, that's okay because we're going to bring you a stellar show.
That's
Broncos
right.
country, here we are, the final MHI, the final Wednesday night before training camp. Thomas, what a show we have in store tonight for the
That's
rest of
right.
Broncos country. But first and foremost, welcome to MHI, guys. I am your host, Luke Patterson. Joined with me, as always, my co host, my friend. You know him, you love him, Thomas Hall. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I am excited to get to camp. I want to see I'm ready to see something different, I'm ready to see some real football. Everything's going good. I'm just excited to get there and see with my own eyes. We've been talking about it for so long, about Sean Payton, all these new additions, and I want to see him with my own eyes, right? And that's what this show's going to be about too, is like getting people ready, pumped and ready to look for stuff at camp. So I'm all excited right now.
That's right, Broncos country. Be ready because this show is going to be out there at this podcasting show, this duo, Thomas and I. We're going to be out there August 1st through August 5th. I'll be out there every day, but catch Thomas and I together out there. Come say hello. We've got a big announcement we'll give a little bit later in the show because everybody likes a tease. But speaking of teases, our guy DVA, Dylan Von Ark's coming in here, always giving us some love. Sup, Broncos country. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in, share on all platforms, and please subscribe if you have not done so already. Please also head on over to milehighhuddle.com where DVA, our very own Dylan Von Arks, has an article up right now about two Broncos that can potentially reach milestones in 2023. It's a fantastic read. You do not want to miss it. But before we get going into our subject, before we start talking about Broncos training camp, before we get into today, because Broncos actually reported today they're doing a 2-day ramp up to training camp, something that I had never really heard of. But then again, with Sean Payton, you can't really guess which way that man's going to move. We've got a lot in store, but I wanted to say hello to some folks that have been waiting very patiently, including Todd Ostendorf, who was in here before the show even started, saying, be kind to each other, choose compassion. This is the way. And I can hear Nick Kendall. He loves that not saying, but philosophy rather. He likes to close his shows with choose kindness. We're Star Wars nerds, so we do this is the way for the Mandalorian. Right. But I like it together, Todd. Thank you so much for all the support. And our guy Troy, man. Troy was in here, one of the very first, if not the very first super chat before the show even started. And Troy is a very good friend of the show. Thank you for all your support. Generous $9.99 super. Thank you, MHH, for getting us through the winter. We can bask in the glow of an actual news going forward. I believe we will make some moves or trades soon to shore up some of the roster, but I'm excited regardless. Thomas, what do you make of Troy's forecast? I mean, first of all, thank you so much for all the support. The offseason is never a boring season here at MHH, and you guys make it exciting. But Sean Payton, we're talking about how unpredictable he is. Troy's putting his finger on a little bit of a prediction. There's going to be some drama, whether that be a trade or an acquisition this summer in training camp.
Well, yeah, I mean, thank you, Troy, for the super chat. It's much appreciated. But for me, the big news that happened this week was Wazirike is out for gambling, and that was already a spot that I've been talking about for a long time. That those two young guys had to make a big step forward,
D-line.
or they were going to have to go find somebody, and now they have to go find somebody. So, Troy, you're right. They're going to need to go make some sort of move, whether it's signing a veteran, maybe trading somebody for someone. Either one, they have to bring in an experienced D-line rotational player.
Troy, I've got your back. We've got your back here on MHI and here at MHH, because if you head on over to milehighhuddle.com right now, Ron White, Thomas's co-host and partner of Saturday night's show, Orange and Blue View, you can catch them every 6 p.m. Mountain. Ron White has an article up right now, and there's some news, a little bit of rumors rather that Cortland Sutton is potentially being linked to New England via trade. So head on over to MHH.com and check that out, milehighhuddle.com, that is. Troy, I love your enthusiasm, man. Thank you so much. It's a team effort here at MHH. Everyone knows that. So certainly tip of the cap to you and to everybody else who's made this a very fun off season. Some off seasons have been bone dry. There's been nothing there. We've wandered the quarterback desert, the head coaching desert. Hopefully we can figure things out this time around. And another gentleman who is always figuring things out for us on this show, providing valuable knowledge, content, and input is our guy, David McGrath, coming in here. Good evening, Broncos country. Luke, Thomas, Dylan, and Deacon Scott. What happened with the earlier super chats yesterday? Hashtag 2 more days. Buckham, MHH for life, Denver Broncos for life. Yeah, David and Broncos country, we appreciate you guys riding with us. Technical difficulties sometimes happen during these shows. I can assure you that we are looking into it. We've got the guys behind the scenes, rather, digging into this, and we're going to try to do our best using all of our resources here at MHH to make sure that we give you your shout out. We give you your due. We appreciate everything you guys do for us. Time is the most valuable thing on this planet, and we want to make sure we're giving you that time and that respect that you guys deserve. So I apologize for any inconvenience, but I can assure you, David, that we are getting it cleaned up here on our end. Thomas, here we go, man. Sean Payton rolled something out today that was a little weird. And ramp up's here. Michael Ronquillo, ramp up. Michael, have you ever heard of ramp up, a 2-day ramp up to training camp out there in Arizona? Are the Cardinals doing that, Michael? Let me know. Saying good evening, Thomas and Luke on the Mile High Insiders. Go Broncos and Buckham. And thank you for your support, Michael. Michael has been super excited for Sean Payton to talk today. He was letting everybody know this morning. I don't know if you saw him on Twitter, but he's like, Coach is going to talk today. And Coach hasn't talked for a long time. And I actually saw that before I realized the pressers were going to happen. We're going to get into what Sean Payton had to say, Michael. But man, what an exciting time. 2-day ramp up. What do you make of Sean Payton's unorthodox approach to kicking off training camp?
Well, I think it's refreshing because what has been happening hasn't worked. So hopefully that this will work. And Michael, thank you. I think this is like 20. You got like a 20-week in a row streak or something with Facebook stars. I don't really know how to run it, but that's amazing. So thank you for the support.
Always
appreciate it.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, obviously he's had success in the league, so he knows what he's doing. And if it's different right now compared to what we've seen, I'm kind of for it, right? I mean, different isn't always better, but in this case, I think it is. So, ramp it up, get them going. Hopefully they don't get injured right away and they start to get in better shape for the season. So,
and we're going to talk about some of those injuries, what we found out today, the pup list, all that stuff. I know that it says Facebook user. I know this is my guy, Ernie Mays, over on Facebook, giving us all kinds of love and support. Happy birthday to our friend, Ernie Mays. Please give him a huge happy birthday shout out. I saw that today. Happy birthday from MHI, from Thomas and I, Ernie. You were one of the most passionate members of Broncos country that I have ever known. And I really appreciate all your support and the kindness that you give me and my friends here just as we talk football, man. So happy birthday to Ernie. We love to celebrate those milestones.
Yeah, happy birthday, man. I didn't see that on Twitter. So sorry about that.
Facebook,
I don't know.
See, I'm a Facebook and Twitter guy. I know you're not a Facebook guy. So when I saw that today, I was like, I gotta give my guy Ernie Mays his due. And the cool thing about Ernie, I'll say real quick, Ernie is so dedicated to the Broncos and the Broncos only. A lot of times now you get these youngins, these young bucks that have, who's your favorite team? Well, I like 3 different teams.
Right.
And it's like, not Ernie, man. Ernie's like, go Broncos, only Broncos country. Like, only good things for, and I always love that. So we salute you, Ernie. Just like we salute our guy, GLP, one of the most infamous villains here at MHH, and I use that with endearing term as well. Gary, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for everything you do for us. And $9.99 super. Hey, Luke, Thomas, and Scott, I sense a calm excitement, if that makes any sense, from the team this year. Go Broncos and Buckham.
Yeah, I feel that too. I know exactly what you're saying. The players are calm, but they have some sort of air about them that's a little bit different this year when they do talk, even with the helmet reveal and stuff, talking to Sutton and others that they're talking about the helmet. I don't know. I think you hit the nail on the head. I feel like they're excited to go out there and play, but they're not so excited that they are not organized and they're not, focused and that kind of stuff. So I get you, Gary, and we'll see how that pans out. I'm hoping it pans out well, but we'll see when we get to training camp.
One word I like to use a lot, and I like that, Gary, a calm excitement. That well, I don't like to use, but I think of when Sean Payton comes into the mix, and I hear Justin Simmons talking about the same thing at the podium today. There's a level of preparation and preparedness over there that hasn't been happening in a long time. How do I know that? Because the product has been so bad. At times, it's like things are in different languages. That's what it felt like, right? Didn't we even think that on Christmas? We're all enjoying a beautiful holiday with our family, and then the Broncos go and ruin everything because they were inept. They were not prepared. Come to find out, I don't know if you knew this either. Nathaniel Hackett and the coaching staff had a big party like that Christmas Eve or whatever, and things were behind the scenes were messy. Imagine that. These guys were not prepared for their job. Sean Payton is trying to get these guys prepared for their job, so much so that he was asked about guys coming into camp in shape. And he said, yeah, I'm happy with it. But it sounded to me like when he's like, I'm happy they showed up in shape, that was the expectation that they were going to be in shape. He referenced hard weightlifting, OTAs, all that sort of work. To me, this 2-day ramp up is an educational awareness, if you will. This is what I expect in training camp. I'm not going to have you learn it day one. I'm going to have you know it 2 days in advance that this is the way I want my camp ran. We have the public coming in. National media is already here. All eyes are on us. The local guys can't wait to take a shot. It's time to turn things around. And I, for one, am happy with the change of direction. I know. I'm the same guy that I'm stubborn in my ways, and I just kind of have to, adapt with the times begrudgingly. But thank God an adult is finally back in the room at Centura Health Training Center.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I hear you. I got to grab Lawrence Rivera, our guy coming in, big time Facebook stars throwing out there saying, Luke, Thomas. Excitement. I love it. Can we please get an upgraded camp with the new owners of the training camp facility? I mean, just look at the Ravens training camp compared to ours. Everyone can use tents. It would be an upgrade from what we're all used to. I mean, at least don't be strict about items. It's just rough for us. Yeah, I mean, I'll just jump in there and say they definitely made some changes that I don't think a lot of fans like, and but I do think they've spent a lot of money to upgrade certain things, and I would imagine that they'll make training camp upgrades as well at some point. But I don't know if it was their highest priority. But I am a little I just have to say I'm disappointed because the tickets went fast for the weekend. Oh, and I'm still out there looking for one for the 5th. So. Yeah.
Well, and I'm going to tell you guys something that no one else is. They're giving out less credentials this year. That's not just for us here at MHH. I'm getting a couple days like I usually do, but I'm talking some of the big dogs, some of the media, the local media. They're given less access to this team. So much so that I'm told it's going to look completely different when we show up on Friday morning. Usually fans have a general idea of where the media is at. There's the radio row. Without giving away too much, don't be surprised when it looks completely different on Friday morning. This is the Sean Payton effect. I mean, it's come hell or high water. He's going to have things his way, and you've got to roll with it if you're a guy who wanted Sean Payton here, which is me. He's very stubborn in his ways. That's not to say that he can't adapt and change as well, especially as an educator, right? That's something Sean Payton prides himself on. And we're talking about Uwuzurike getting suspended, and Sean Payton talked about that ad nauseum in a recent article by a national reporter that was referenced on these airwaves for the last 48 hours, 24 hours, whatever it's been. The Sean Payton effect is real. I am not going like InfoWars or anything on you when I say that I think the Sean Payton attendance thing, there may be something to that. That's pure speculation. But Sean doesn't want all eyes on this team right now, at least externally. He wants to work in silence. He wants a special diamond to be forged in the rough of the mountains that is the Mile High City. So I'm looking forward to it not being a complete joke. We were out there, Thomas. It got laughable last year to how many water breaks there were. My Lord. I mean, the amount of tweeting I did at Broncos practice was shameful because it was that bad. And at a certain point, Broncos country stopped showing up. Now it's the complete opposite because they want to come in and they want to see their quarterback who's in shape for once. They want to see, can Sean Payton fix Russell Wilson? I mean, things have changed seemingly overnight, and I use overnight in terms of the offseason here in Broncos country.
Well, there's a lot of things to look for, coming up. But I mean, obviously, Sean Payton has already kind of given his prickly demeanor. He was cordial at the presser, but not to the point where he was happy-go-lucky and just answering every question. So
He'll
he was a
get
little
you.
prickly.
He'll get you.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
if
was
you're not
like,
on your
I've already
toes,
answered that question.
yeah, and
why are you asking it again?
And I liked it. Yeah, I liked it when he talked about today too. I'm never going to talk about injuries, as if that means we're going to stop asking. Like we've got to figure this out. But
Right.
You're right. It's just a new sense of trying to get to know Sean Payton and what that's about. I'll say this, Lawrence too, as well. And Lawrence, good friend of the show. Lawrence, a season ticket holder. I mean, these type of fans deserve something around here, at least a tent. But Broncos country, there are tents out there. Lawrence, I know what you're talking about, man. You're looking for a better camp experience. I think that's eventually going to be coming in the next handful of years, just looking at who this ownership group is. And we got to hear from Damani Leach today, team president, Greg Penner, team CEO, if you will. And just an exciting day because Broncos country had no idea or didn't really see it coming when the ownership group changed hands last camp. It was right in the middle start of camp. It felt rushed, really, even though these sales seemed to take a while. But I think Broncos country starting to warm up to the idea of the Walton Penner ownership, especially when they go out in free agency, Thomas, and just spend the most amount by any NFL team. And I know Broncos country, like Lawrence, man, they want to know what's going on with the O-line and D-line. We spent a lot of money specifically on the offensive line. When you look at Bennett Powers and Mike McGlinchey, that's one of my favorite units to look at, Thomas, as you know, whenever I'm anywhere, whether that's scouting for Mile High Huddle, whether that's at training camp. I like watching the big dogs scrap, and the O-line, D-line, they've got to get after it in the Mile High City.
Well, in the D-line, especially at this point, right? They've got an injured Mike Purcell on the PUP list. So these guys the guys that are on the team have to really get after it right now. I mean, if they want to make the team, now's their chance. And I mean, you can look at the offensive line and you can pretty much say, yeah, those guys are pretty set. But the defensive line is in complete flux right now, especially that rotation.
I don't know. Yeah, we're on this. We're co-simpatico with the D line for sure, especially with Awuzurike going down now. Not that I'm saying he was the impact player of impact players or anything.
No, but the rotation's important.
You're saying this. You're saying O-line is pretty much plugged in. I completely disagree. We have no idea who the starting center is going to be, and that was a massive problem last season. I think people just automatically assume Garrett Bowles is going to be able to come in here and play like he did 2 years ago. When the fact of the matter was, he did regress a little last season and then he got hurt. He's also a gentleman that's starting to get a little long in the tooth. I think left tackle and center are definitely positions of concern, and I'm excited to see how they address it or if they feel comfortable with where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see if Garrett Bowles is ready to go in camp for sure, and I definitely want to see if Cushenberry can make that leap. But from my perspective, when you're looking at the moves they made, the starting five is ready to go. Now, do they falter in camp and have to make a change? Sure, that could happen. But at this point right now, the five that you got there, Cushenberry in the at center, that's what they're going with. The defensive line though is different. That you don't know who there's one starter that's a big question mark right now. Big question mark. Who's going to be the third starter? Is it Purcell? He's on the PUP list. Was it going to be Henderson?
Did you see that about Mike Purcell? And I read it today on Kliss's article. Non-football related injury. He had non-disclosed surgery in the offseason. I mean, that's kind of one of those weird ones, right? Kind of hush hush. It makes me wonder, like, hopefully it was something minor and dare I say embarrassing, and that's why they didn't want it to be out there, because that means he'll be ready for camp. I don't care what it was. I hope he's okay.
Sure.
Mike Purcell, people want to see this cat, a local cat, right? I mean, he's right down the road from me in Castle Rock, baby. These guys love big Mike Purcell. I hear about him all over town. And James Richard, speaking about coming in all over town, coming in hot with some super chat love. Thank you so much for tuning in. And James has been a big part of MHI, especially the new look MHI that we launched a little bit ago. Generous $10 super. James saying, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. If there's no success running the football, Denver will be worse than last year. If successful in running the football, we could beat the Chiefs at least once. And James, that's the nail on the head for Sean Payton. The running the ball is going to be a big deal. We've talked about that on these airwaves as soon as Sean Payton was hired. Yeah, the quarterback's a big deal. We get it. But so is the rest of the offense. Hell, so is the rest of the football team, James. I don't know if you got to hear Coach talk earlier today, but he was asked kind of point blank about working with the quarterbacks. And he said, I've got coaches that I've hired and I trust to do it. It's also my job to be the head coach. And that was a very refreshing answer to me. But it was equally refreshing to find out Javonte Williams is ready for training camp, Thomas. That has Broncos country ready.
Yeah.
They want to see Pookie back, and I know he's not 100%, but damn it, he is pretty close if he has made that much progress that he's going to be coming into training camp. Now, Coach Sean Payton did say today, James, that he's going to be taking a little bit of a hands-on approach with guys that are coming back from injury. Two players that I immediately think of, Tim Patrick and Javonte Williams. They might get some vet type status, even though Tim Patrick's a little longer in the tooth than Javonte Williams. You get it with the injuries. He also referenced Kareem Jackson kind of being handled as a veteran in terms of snap counts and just overall exposure in training camp. Thomas, what do you think of James's take here that running the football has got to improve drastically, not just a little bit, but drastically, if you're going to finally snap that 15-game streak against the Chiefs, dude? Good Lord.
I agree. They have to be effective running the ball because it's going to help. It's going to help Russell Wilson because that. If you look back in the past, that has definitely helped him become a better quarterback. When it was all on Russell Wilson's shoulders, whether it had to be or not, based on the offense, he didn't perform as well. So I think they have to have success running the ball. I don't think they have to be. They don't have to like only be run first all the time. In fact, they've got a ton of weapons to throw to. So I think the passing game can be pretty potent, but they do have to be effective. Now, I don't think you're going to see, a 1,000-yard rusher or someone that's leading the league because they're going to be, it's going to take a while for Javonte to get back into the swing of things. They're going to be splitting time between him and Pirine, and you're going to see a churning out of yards, but you're not going to see this explosive one back offense that he gets 1,500 yards or 1,400 yards.
Don't forget about my guy Tony Jones, right? Handpicked out of the University of Notre Dame. No, Tony Jones. It's just one of three Saints players I could think of now with the Sean Payton connection. I'm excited to talk about Marquez Callaway in training camp. I think he's going to be an interesting look trying to get a job, right? Competing with little Jordan Humphreys. That wide receiver position, I get that it's stacked, folks, but especially when you've got guys on the PUP, on the injury list, KJ Hamler, we found out today, rather, that, his injury is non-hamstring related. It was a pectoral issue while he was lifting weights. So he's a little bit behind, if you will. They don't sound that worried. But it's just, damn, kind of needed you, man. Kendall Hinton, that knee. Don't know when they're going to be available, but Baron Browning as well, while we talk about the PUP. He's got some knee discomfort, so he was on the PUP. KJ Hamler, that was a non-football related injury, a pectoral injury lifting weights. Kendall Hinton on the PUP for a knee injury. And then again, Mike Purcell, that non-football related injury, a non-disclosed surgery. So just a little bit of an injury update, if you will, as we move along. And holy cow.
Oh, wow.
Gregory Vendeland coming in here with a huge super chat. Thank you so much, Gregory. These type of super chats are always a little overwhelming, a little emotional for both of us, man, because that is very generous and very kind, and we appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much, Gregory. I mean, $49.99 times are tough, so we certainly appreciate you guys tuning in, let alone if you're in a position to donate. So thank you, Gregory. We salute you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's very, very generous of you, and we very, very much appreciate it. I just wanted to say you hit on my one of the guys that I've keyed in on as someone who's going to impact not just the wide receiver group, but the roster overall. If he performs well on special teams in camp, and that's Callaway, that wide receiver. He has experience in the Saints offense. He could be a good fourth or fifth wide receiver, if that's what it takes. But if he can excel on special teams in camp, he is going to make several wide receivers expendable and maybe even keep 5 on the roster and open up a spot somewhere else because he's good enough to be that. They don't need to hedge their bets really with him on the roster on offense. So depending on how he does on special teams, that's the key player that I'm going to be out there watching, one of them for sure.
Another guy I'm hearing a lot about from friends who have been attending the OTAs, the mini camps, things of that nature. Broncos country, do not sleep on cornerback Jaquan McMillan. Being told that this man is heavy competition for the rest of the DBs, specifically a guy maybe like Damari Mathis, who had a very good season last year, who is coming in riding all kinds of momentum. A good camp battle to watch. I think a good problem for the Broncos to have. I think both guys are obviously going to be making this team. You can never have enough defensive backs. Hell, just ask George Payton that. He'll tell you within the first 10 seconds of meeting him. That's exciting for me. I'm excited to see Riley Moss too. I know that's a player you're really looking forward to getting your eyes on. Drew Sanders, JL Skinner, that safety position. It's going to be really interesting. And I wanted to get to Keith's question here. And Keith, another friend of the show. And Keith, we're excited to meet you out at Broncos camp. Thomas and I are going to be out there August 1st through August 5th-ish. I'll be out there every day. And now is probably as good a time as any because Keith told me, hey, man, I'm going to come pick your brain a little bit at Broncos camp. We encourage that. Come on out. Come say hello. Take a picture with us and tweet that picture. You will be entered into a giveaway here on this very show where you can get some MHI gear, whether that be a hat, a shirt, some other MHH merch. We're really going to try to drive that MHI gear, though, and try to show you some love. But again, Broncos country, we will be out there. Thomas Hall, August 1st through the 5th. I will be out there every day. Come take a picture with us, and you'll be entered to win a chance to get some MHI gear. Question from Keith. Gentlemen, outside of Sean Payton, which coach are you watching to make their impression on this team? It's pretty easy for me right away. I just wrote about it at milehighhuddle.com. Vance Joseph, what is a man willing to do with a second chance? We often talk about second chances in this life, Tom, but very rarely do they ever come around. Very rarely are they ever revealed. And it took a lot of courage. It took a lot of guts to come back to the city where you were ran out of town. You were fired. You were embarrassed. Your family, I'm sure it was hard for his kids to go to school. I'm sure his wife may have got a bad look or two at the supermarket. I mean, things that aren't easy when we're talking about the human element of football. I want to see if Vance Joseph's matured. I want to see if he is a leader of men. Because last time he was here, Broncos country, we all know how that went. Is it just lip service from Sean Payton? We're fixing to find out, as Gary Kubiak once said, because I'm going to know real quick. Broncos country, you're going to know real quick. I mean, that's the beauty, Thomas, of going to training camp. You don't have to listen to anybody else tell you what they're seeing. Come see for yourself, damn it.
That's right.
I mean, it's not, we're not rocket scientists here. Come see for yourself. Football players make football plays, and they're put in positions of success from good coaching. Vance Joseph,
Absolutely.
you're on the hot seat, bud. I'm watching you. I'm hopeful. I'm ready to give you that second chance, but it doesn't mean you don't have to earn it.
Yeah, and thanks, Keith, for the Facebook stars. Really appreciate the support. My guy is Zach Strief, man. They went out and spent a bunch of money on the offensive line. He's a young guy, young in the coaching ranks. Looking to move up. I want to just see how well he coaches this offensive line and how much better it is than last year. Of course, I want to know. That's a big thing. They spent a lot of money, a lot. So that better perform. That unit better perform well, and better give Russell Wilson the protection he needs to be a better quarterback. He got slaughtered last year, no doubt about it. 50 some sacks. So that's who I want to see for sure. And
Roy's weighing in too, saying Davis Webb. I mean, trying to figure out if he's all that in a bag of chips. It's like the hottest thing ever, right? For the last 30 years, a former quarterback becoming a coach. Look no further than Sean Payton. He definitely took that route, and it was part of his career that ultimately put him in the position that he's in. I wanted to get real quick. Denver Broncos roundup. Our guy Michael, man, I think he might be having. I don't know if we're having issues with Facebook stars, but sit tight. Denver Bronco roundup. I see you in the chat. James Richard coming back in. Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine, McLaughlin, Tony Jones Jr., and nothing but run blockers in free agency, including a tight end. We're most certainly looking to run the football. We talked a little bit about the running backs. Tight end, man. I've got tight end notes littered on this paper right now. I'm trying to figure out the Broncos tight end room, Tom, and that's going to be very easy to do this summer at training camp because, as you know, in a Sean Payton offense, he's not just going to tell you what he's doing based on personnel like
Right.
Nathaniel Hackett's offense last year. We knew when Jerry Jeudy was on the field, he would not be blocking. We knew, hell, we can go back even further to Noah Fant, right? And
Yeah.
Alberto splitting reps. I mean, Julius Thomas, we did that last week, right? I mean, we could go further and further back with tells, specifically from the tight end position. But Sean Payton, man, he loves to keep those cards so close to his chest. One of the reasons why it's hard for Broncos country to get a ticket to damn training camp, but
Sure.
it's for a reason, guys. It's ultimately to try to get an advantage. And having these tight ends, man, they had damn well better be ready to compete. It's going to be Alberto. You're on the hot seat. I just talked about
Oh,
Vance
yeah.
Joseph. I'm looking at you funny. Really, Alberto making this football team is a long shot for me right now. I'm not trying to cut the guy down before he even gets his summer going, but bringing guys in like an Adam Troutman during the draft via trade with the New Orleans Saints. I mean, Sean Payton is literally telling you, Broncos country. He's telling me, he's telling us here on MHI, I want my guys here. I want
Yep.
my 2 wide receivers here. I want my tight end here, and I want my running back here. Why? Because he's in charge of the offense, folks, and he's going to have it his way.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, they're going to run the ball for sure. I keep looking at the weapons they have on offense, including the tight ends we just talked about, pass catchers. His Peyton's role coming in is one of them is to win, and the other one is to fix Russell Wilson so they can win, right? I don't know. It might be a little tempting to throw the ball a little bit more than we're thinking, but I'm old school. So if they're going to pound the rock down the throat of the defense, I am all for it. But for me, if they can run effectively and then in that 4-minute drill just grind down the clock, I'm cool with it. They don't need to be the best running offense in the league. They just need to be very effective, especially when they need to run out those games.
A lot of people think Greg Dulcich is going to have a big year in the Sean Payton offense.
Yeah.
And you look back to some of Sean Payton's success with tight ends. And how weird is it that Jimmy Graham is like returning to the New Orleans Saints? That's
That is
just
weird.
kind of one of those odd things. I guess he went full circle in his life. And, maybe that's
Yeah.
one of those things to watch and call me crazy. But, these camp stories happen every year where these vets come in and they think they want it. And then in the middle of training camp, they're like, I could get through a season, but I ain't trying to do all this. And
Yeah.
they end up retiring. And Jimmy Graham might be there, maybe not. It's just me speculating, but hard to say. And just finishing off the tight end conversation, I'll be completely honest because unlike other people in the podcast community, the radio community here in Denver, I'm not going to pretend to know something. If I don't know something, I'll be the first to tell you. I'll do my best to find out, but I'm not just
Sure.
going to spin lies to try to draw ratings that you'll never get. Tommy Hudson. I'm not familiar with Tommy Hudson, tight end for the Denver Broncos, or really Chris Manhertz. Doesn't mean they're bad players. Maybe it's shame on me, but I'm looking forward to trying to get to know these guys. We've had journeyman tight ends forever for the Broncos,
Yeah.
and they've had a little bit of success, but we're looking for a long-term answer. And success can come from anywhere. Talent comes from anywhere, as you know, Tom. And hell, there's nothing stopping Tommy Hudson coming out here and having a fantastic training camp. Just because you don't have a flashy name or you weren't drafted in the first 3 rounds doesn't mean jack squat. The Broncos, as you know, Tom, have a very rich history of undrafted free agents, not only making the football team, but going on to become franchise players.
Absolutely. And in fact, I know we talked about some of the things that we would talk about. I actually am predicting like one of the stars of the offense during camp is going to be an undrafted free agent rookie. So I'll just tell you, Jalil McLaughlin to me is one of those guys
Telling you.
who can impress people because he's got speed. They're going to do a lot of the position drills, 7-on-7, things like that. I think he can come out and really impress people and maybe make this team.
I'm with you, man. I talked about him a little bit ago. I mean, you said it, 5'10", 183 out of Eastern Carolina. He went undrafted in 2022. So it got me wondering, I mean, what did he do last season? Was he on a practice squad somewhere or, he's just starting
Yeah.
his young career, obviously, but man, from
I
the
don't know.
reports and my friends out there at camp, and they're like, dude, Luke, I'm telling you, when you're out at camp, I know. They got some guy named Pat Surdan, Kwan Williams, some pretty damn Damari Mathis, some pretty damn good corners, pretty
Sure.
locked in. But when you get a chance, take a peek. And that's a guy I would love to make some special teams impact right away, just
Sure.
along with a Riley Moss, a JL Skinner. This is where you can make that impact. And Lawrence Rivera, one more time, man. If I could just take in my own water bottle, I'd be happy. Literally my favorite MHH show. Lawrence, I take great pride in hearing that, man, and I'm so humble, and I know Thomas is too. We work our tails off here at MHI specifically to try to bring you some of the best content our own way, our own style. Every show has their own, takes on the personality of their hosts. That
Yep.
it is what it is, and we are super excited to share with you Training Camp 2023. So if you're out there, come say hello, snap a picture with us, tag us on Twitter, and you will be entered to win an MHI hat, an MHI shirt. If you're a little curious what those look like, head on over to mhhmerch.com, get your swag on. Let's say you hated our show, but you still wanted to say hello anyway and take a picture. I'm sure we could get you a t-shirt or something like that,
Sure.
an MHH shirt, something like that. And be sure to tune in to Thomas's other shows, guys. This isn't the only good show here on MHH. We've got Legends of Mile High every Friday morning, and then you can catch Thomas with Ron White on Saturday night on Orange and Blue View. So it's going to be a lot of fun this training camp, man. We're looking forward to seeing you guys out there, and we're off and rolling. And James Richard coming back in, man. Thank you so much for the support, James. Steve Atwater left Denver, came back to retire. Not saying it's true, yet that could be what Jimmy Graham is doing. Yeah, man, James, I'm thinking the same thing. And even yesterday, I saw a tweet. I think it might have been from Pro Football Talk or just a news source. And it was referencing one of my favorite players of all time who I wanted here in Denver this last offseason that would help your area of concern, Tom. Calais Campbell. I campaigned for him
Sure.
hard all offseason. He was talking about Mac Jones. I don't know if anybody saw this, but he's like, Mac Jones is one of the most disrespectful quarterbacks I've ever played against in terms of some of the things he'd say. Now, he didn't reveal what Mac Jones would say because Calais is a dog. He understands man code. He's not going to break that. But it definitely got me curious, and it got me thinking along with those Jimmy Graham guys, James. Calais is a little long in the tooth, right? I like to make fun of Kareem Jackson for being an old man, but when you compare a Kareem Jackson to a Calais Campbell, I mean, Calais Campbell's like father time. I mean, he's been in the league for a little bit now. He's enjoyed a ton of success, but is ultimately a little bit sad when you see some of our favorite playmakers of the day having their twilight years or seeing those things come to a halt. And there are lists out there, Thomas. I don't know if you saw, like, guys are saying, look at the free agents still available, and they're veteran big name players, man. I
Sure.
mean, notice how I use big name, not impact, but big name. They used to be, the creme de la creme.
One of them's on my list to go get because he's got familiarity with Sean Payton, and that's
Who you
Akeem
got?
Hicks. Akeem Hicks.
All right.
He's 33. He's older. I get it. I get why he's still kind of out there waiting, but the Broncos have a need on defensive line. I don't get I know everybody loves Shelby Harris for some reason. I'm kind of lukewarm on Shelby. I'd rather go with someone that could come in and replace what they lost, right? And be a bit of an upgrade when you're looking at Wazirike, big, strong kind of guy. And he's got maybe enough left in the tank to be a rotational piece to come in and make that work. But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird. They haven't made any moves at this point. So it's interesting.
My dad was talking to me about that today. He's like, man, what are they going to do with D-line, right? They're going to get another D-lineman. I'm like, you know what they did, Dad? Actually, they got another kicker. Elliott Fry was signed to the team in addition to Brett Maher for that kicking competition, folks. And, I use Kliss a lot, man. Mike's been really good to me in my career, and he's a good man. And you rip on him if you will. It is what it is. He knows what he signed up for, but he's got some really good stuff out there at Mike Liss on Twitter right now. And if you're ever trying to get some information, that's where I saw one of his tweets saying if Brett Maher makes the team, he's incentivized big time with a contract for a kicker. Not a contract how it compares to the league. The Broncos aren't going to blow their whole wad on Brett Maher, but
right.
It's just kind of incentivizing, like, hey, we think we like this guy. He's our pick to make the team. Let's put a safety net out there and no pun intended, getting Elliott Fry in there, man. That's great. That's great. Let's kick it off. Let's see how they do it. And Michaela Israel coming in saying the MHI shirts are super comfortable, by the way. They are super comfortable. They've got this cool, nifty little logo that my guy Adam made, one of my good friends for us back in the day, and I continue to rock it. I'm super proud to be a Colorado native. There aren't many of us left. And beauty, though, is Broncos country has no geographical location. It's a state of being. That's our mission statement here at MHH. So I know a lot of folks are coming in from out of town. Thomas is one of them, man. He comes in out of town every training camp to cover it with yours truly. And we can't wait to see you guys out there August 1st through the 5th. Come say hello, take a picture, and get entered into a sweepstakes to win a shirt, pretty much, or a hat, or whatever it is that you would like. I know Michaela's going to be out there. We're also going to be at the meet and greet week 7 against the Green Bay Packers. MHI will be in the house also. So I'm just going to say it, man. We're the most repped show in the hood here at MHH, man. We're boots on the ground, and we're going to continue to be, and we can't wait to meet all of you guys. So if you'd like to get at Thomas too on Twitter, please do so, folks. That's at Thomas Hall NFL. Slide into his DMs. That's at Luke Patterson LP if you want to slide into mine, as the kids would say. And we love talking football, guys. So come on out. Let's talk football. I will say this, and I don't care who gets mad at me, but don't be that guy at training camp that shows up without, sun lotion and sunscreen, because it's going to be brutal. Bring a clear water bottle, verse yourself in the clear bag policy. Yes. Try to keep yourself safe, because it is hot out there, Thomas. We're going to be out there sweating like pigs, and we're going to be super excited to meet all of Broncos country. And look at this guy popping in here. I want to give Lance Sanderson some love. What's up, Lance? How excited are we for the MHH meet and greet? Lance, one half of the Dove Valley Deep Divers, where you can catch him with Eric Trickle every Friday night at 6 p.m. Mountain. Lance was out there last year. I'm going to be out there this year. Try to make it work with all of our schedules, and we're getting ready here at MHH, folks. There's never an off season. You can check out all of Lance's work too over at milehighhuddle.com. He's consistently been putting articles out all off season. So I see you, Lance. Definitely wanted to give you a shout out, man, and thanks for tuning into the show, bro.
Yeah, it's exciting. It'll be. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. I met most of the people from Mile High Huddle, but we're all kind of scattered around, so it'll be nice. I hope there's a really good turnout for that, because it's always kind of fun, You're tailgating, you're having a good time. You get on the podcast, you do that kind of stuff. It's great, but training camp is fun too. So one thing that you have to remember though about training camp, you can't bring an umbrella. It's supposed to rain when I'm there. So
thank God. Good. Please. We need the rain. I can't tell you how dry it's been here. And you know what, though? This is like the first time in my lifetime our state hasn't been on fire. I mean, usually every summer it's you're dealing with fire, with smoke, and it's horrible. I really haven't seen that. That's not to say, I don't know if there is, but I welcome the rain. But yeah, Thomas is exactly right, man. Make sure you guys verse yourself in that clear bag policy. Head on over to denverbroncos.com. There's a link to training camp, the do's, the don'ts. I'll also say this too. Fans are always there, super excited to meet their favorite players of yesteryear. There are also celebrities out there. It gets a lot of fun, but try to be respectful of them. Also, they're also human beings. There's a time and a place to ask for an autograph with these cats. And I'm telling you, if you treat them like human beings, you might just learn a thing or two out there at Broncos training camp. So while everyone loves a picture and autograph, and I certainly encourage you to get those, and players will be made available, don't be the 50-year-old dad shoving kids out of the way to get autographs, because I see it every year and it pisses me off. The players see it and they will call you out, if not worse. Look, man, let's all get out there. Let's have fun. Let's watch football, because it's back. And while I can respect what the Nuggets have done, what the Avalanche have done, Colorado, Denver, this is Broncos country. All right. This is where the excitement happens. This is where holiday plans are formed around. Weekends are back in the Mile High City. No longer is that honeydew list going to dominate your Sunday. No longer are you going to be falling asleep on the couch or getting separation anxiety from what was once good football. Things are changing. How do I know this? I'm going to training camp on Friday. It's already going to look different, Tom. There's already strict media policies. Russell Wilson's in shape. The guys are in shape. We're doing 2-day ramp ups. Things have changed at
Yeah.
Centura Health Training Center. Come out to training camp and see for yourself.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear your reports, Luke, till I get out there. I mean, I count on you to be out there and giving me the information. So when I show up, I get a little bit of a head start. So I appreciate you being out there, and it's not easy, to be out there every single day, to go out there and get that information. It isn't. I mean, it's
No,
fun, but it's a
it's
commitment,
fun.
man. It's a
I know.
commitment.
I met some family. It is a commitment, man, and I couldn't do it without my team. Right, you're part of that team, and MHA's part of that team. My family, my friends. I mean, I'm kind of my summer's done, and I don't say that sadly. I'm excited. I mean, my summer's done. My football summer's just getting excited, and it's just getting started, man. So no, my wife
Right.
and daughter know I'm kind of gone for the next month. I'm here. Physically sometimes, maybe not physically other times, but mentally I'm always locked into football, and it's something I take very serious. And I welcome debate, but I try to bring you what I'm seeing out there, and I try to be objective. Now, I want the Broncos to do well, and I want them to beat the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl in 2023 as much as you guys do. But it is my responsibility, just like it's our responsibility here at MHH, to make sure we're telling you the truth, because we're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to give you a bunch of BS. We're not even going to charge you for our articles. There are tons of other publications that are willing to do that. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com. Check out all of our written and digital content. Our podcasts are free wherever you download them. And we just appreciate you guys rocking with us. It's become another one of our, I feel like all of our friends are joining in the show tonight. It's making me get all gooey inside. Our guy KB, man. I love KB. Kenneth Booker. How you doing, bud? 199 Super. Hey, fellas. Who will be the Denver team MVP this year? What a question. We were going to see, KB. I thought you were going to maybe, I saw MVP on this in the comment section. I'm thinking camp MVP, right? KB's going to ask me who my camp MVP is, or maybe a preseason MVP. Man, no, he went for the jugular. Who is going to be Denver Broncos team MVP this year, Thomas?
All right. I'm going to give you both, actually, because I have both in my mind. Camp MVP
Hit me.
is going to be
it's
Jerry
not the same
Jeudy.
guy. Okay.
No, it's
all
not
right.
the same guy. Jerry Judy's going to be the camp MVP because, like I said earlier about Jaleel McLaughlin, being a lot of 7-on-7, he's one of those guys that can really kind of shine when it's not like, you don't have a DB in your face pushing you all the time, stuff like that. So he's going to be pretty spectacular in my mind. He seems driven to be much better. But what I'm going to say, and people are going to probably kill me on Twitter for saying this, Russell Wilson's going to be the MVP of the team during the regular season. And the reason why I say that is I got to stand by what I said earlier. I did a bunch of analytics work based on past quarterbacks. I predict that he's going to have a very good bounce back year because it happens a lot. I'm picking him because I'm sticking with my guns. I'm sticking with what I did. And I can definitely be wrong and fine, but that's going to be my MVP.
I love it, dude. I love it. I crumpled up my paper. I don't need it. Thomas is in on Russell Wilson, dude. That means the Broncos are going to have a great season. That's why I'm so damn excited by that.
Yep.
If Russell Wilson's your MVP, hot damn, I wonder how that season was, because that kind of proves the point I was making, or at least trying to illustrate at milehighhuddle.com when I wrote about Russell Wilson comeback player of the year odds. It's just that. You're either going to make or break the football team at the quarterback position, but specifically with Russell Wilson, the human being. And you can read about 3 things that I think Russell Wilson could learn from Peyton Manning's Netflix series over at milehighhuddle.com. Some of those things might surprise you. And no, Broncos country, Russell Wilson will not be in the next Netflix quarterback series. How do I know that? I didn't talk to Russ. I didn't text the PR guys. I have no idea. I know that Sean Payton hates the cameras, and there is no damn way that Russell Wilson and a camera crew are going to be coming back in to the building when Sean Payton finally got him out. But you're exactly right. For me, I'm going to go maybe it's a little vanilla, but I'm old school. Pat Surtain is the man. And I think you're going to have teams test him this year because they want to see, is Vance Joseph all he's cracked out to be, right? What's his specialty? Defensive backs. The Broncos have a target on their back for being one of the better defenses, specifically the secondary unit. Justin Simmons talked about that today, and I know KB saw it One-on-ones are going to be fun in training camp, right? One-on-ones are back, not only for the big guys in the pit, but we're talking wide receivers versus DBs. Wait till you get former Bama teammates, Jerry Jeudy and Pat Surtain lining up. I can't wait to see it, man. It's going to be fireworks. When Marvin Mims is back in, that's going to be nice. Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, welcome back, baby. I mean, these things are going to be a lot of fun. So a really good question from KB. I appreciate that, man, because Pat Surtain, Russell Wilson, these are the heavyweights on this team. And if both men can have a great year, success is going to be rampant. It's going to be wild. It makes me excited and giddy to think about what it could be. Just like our guy Patrick Wiltsey coming in here, making me excited and giddy with all the love, saying, I know Thomas thinks I need a Tom Nalen jersey, but what breakout player jersey should I go for? What a question by Patrick Wiltsey, dude. Like, first of all, the Nalen jerseys, I'm sure they're very rare. So definitely grab yourself one of those. But what breakout player jersey should Patrick go for right now in the team stores in Tura Health Training Center?
Well, I'm going to tell you, you don't have to get a Nalen jersey, but you could get a Nalen sweatshirt that I designed. Go to my Twitter account. But anyway,
Thomas Hall NFL on Twitter. That's at Thomas Hall NFL on Twitter. You got to complete the plug, Tom. You got to complete that plug, baby.
It's funny. I keep saying that the breakout player has to be the player that we just talked about earlier in the show is Cushenberry. He has to be the breakout player if that offensive line is going to be a good offensive line. So he has to take that next step. And so for me, I wouldn't buy a jersey because he's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year. So he might break out and be a better player, but he might also be gone. So I don't know if you should buy his jersey, but he's another center and a lot, like Nalen, not nearly as good, obviously, but in my mind, he has to be the breakout player. Nobody's expecting him to be good. He's got the starting job straight up out of camp, right? He's coming into camp. He's supposed to be the guy. So he has to make that next step. Otherwise, the offensive line that they spent all that money on isn't going to be as good as they had hoped. So that's why I'm kind of pulling for him to be that breakout guy. And I think with the right teaching, with the two people beside him, the two guards that, I think I think the sky's the limits for Miners. Powers is awesome. I thought it was the best free agent pickup of everybody. I think he can be better. How much better? I don't know. I have to have my fingers crossed that he is going to be that guy. But I wouldn't buy his jersey yet.
Well, then you didn't. What kind of farce is that, Patrick? Did you hear that? He's like, I think Quinn Miners is going to be great, but I wouldn't get his jersey. Go get yourself.
No, Miners is going to be great. I'd get Miners jersey, but he's not a breakout player. I expect him to be one of the best on the offensive line.
He damn well had better be. If you're looking for a under the radar candidate that nobody's talking about who might be worth a jersey purchase, look no further than new Broncos defensive end number 99, Zach Allen. This guy is coming in here and he is going to impress a lot of people. He's going to piss the offensive lineman off in training camp. Don't be surprised if you see the skirmish. It happens every year. Now it's not going to be the drama that was Bradley Chubb and Garrett Bowles where they're throwing things at each other, just like Cortland Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders did. I mean, that's how receivers fight, with water bottles, not how O-linemen and D linemen fight. No, man, I think Zach Allen, talking to some former Broncos offensive linemen and defensive linemen that I've rapped with recently, they are excited to see this guy. I asked one man specifically how many sacks he thinks Zach Allen can have, and he hit me with the dime. And I was like, 10 sacks and coming into Denver with a new contract, first year? All right, I see that. That looks like impact plays. I'll go there. So big 99, Zach Allen. It's always a good number for a D lineman as well, too, right? That good old classic 99. I'm excited to see Zach Allen. I'm excited to see what that looks like. And Matt Henningsen as well. I mean, it's time to get going. Number 91, right? I mean, young pup, it's your opportunity is here. We've talked about D end, edge. I mean, D line, these are areas of concern. There are also areas for the taking, Tom, as you well know. I mean, dare I say wide open, but hell, it's just about as wide open as it can be. The only guy in there I feel who is penned in, not even penciled in, is DJ Jones. And it's because he's a
Yep.
dog and kind of one of the only guys who has that structure for that traditional technique. Michael Ronquillo coming in, man. Thank you so much for the love, Mike. And I know I'm going to get love from you, just like Thomas and the rest of the show, as soon as we go off the airwaves, man. It's one of the things I look forward to the most. Your kindness is truly overwhelming, friend. Great show tonight, Thomas and Luke, on the Mile High Insiders. Go Broncos and buck them.
Yeah, massive Facebook stars, Michael. So appreciate it as always. We're happy that you're here, but even more happy that you're giving us some support. So thank you.
Look at this guy. Hey, Michael Ronquillo would like a jersey of mine, Patrick. I hope, at least. Is there a Hall jersey or a Scott Kennedy one? Maybe. I mean, no love. Patrick must be that guy that's going to win our contest that requests, a different show other than MHI. Sure. I kid, Patrick. No, we appreciate all the love. Thomas, he works his tail off. Scott does too. He's not with us tonight. We're trying to get in those last minute little bits of summer, but head on over to milehighhuddle.com, Patrick, where Thomas is finishing up a series right now on his show Friday mornings for the training camp series. That's just about wrapped up before he heads on out here to the Mile High City. You could catch that every Friday morning. Go back and listen to some of the others. They're a great listen to. I like to listen to them when I'm driving a lot of podcasts, but teach their own. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com as well, where Thomas has an article up by some guy, Mecklenburg. Maybe you heard of him. I don't know. It's probably worth a click. This man belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and Thomas Hall tells you why. So please check that article up at milehighhuddle.com. And Michael coming back in, I knew he would, saying, I've already got a Broncos jersey and it's got my name on it. And Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but Michael was one of those studs like Gary Leeds Palmer and some of the rest of our guys and gals here at MHH that has been such a super chat superstar. And on that Mount Rushmore, as Chad likes to say, that I think Michael's won one of the sweepstakes jerseys, if not two. And maybe I'm wrong. I think maybe it was a PS2 jersey or a Javonte Williams jersey. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm getting a little older, so things are rolling around upstairs. But Michael, we appreciate your support, man. It's cool. It's cool to see people get their colors out. I was out doing some birthday shopping for my kiddo at one of the malls here in the Mile High City, and I actually saw Russell Wilson jerseys out, Tom. I mean, that took me back. I was with my wife, and I kind of had her pinch me like, is that real? That's not a Drew Lock jersey, right? It's not laundry. It's not laundry day, and some kid is out. They're wearing Russell Wilson jerseys. She's like, yes, it's a Russell Wilson jersey. And then I'm thinking, why aren't you wearing your Russell Wilson jersey that I got you last year, honey? Why aren't you wearing that jersey? And we'll see if she can this year. But no, man, it's really cool to see the faith starting to get renewed. And I know we've all said this is the year every year, but hope springs eternal when it's the start of a new season. And when you've got a man like Sean Payton leading the show, Broncos country can't help but get that curious itch. And I think that's definitely going to answer a lot of questions when people come out at training camp and get to see Sean Payton's squad for themselves, at least for the first time this fall and summer, I guess.
Yeah, and it's important to to have a little cautious optimism, but it's important to be optimistic as well, right? Because there's reason to be. Well, you could be. I was optimistic last year, and there were reasons for it, obviously, until it came crashing down. But in this year, there's reasons to be optimist for sure. And so, David McIlrath coming with a super chat. He's one of the most optimistic. 12 wins, 12-5. So that's been his been his prediction for a while. So if they go 12-5, that is quite the comeback.
Oh man, that's 12-5, David. I mean, David has definitely put his flag in the ground there, and he's not moving it either. So I salute you for it, David. I mean, I hope you're right, man. That means great things for Broncos country in 2023. KB, another good question, man. God, KB killing it tonight. $1.99. You got one road game to go to. Which one do you choose? My answer might surprise some people, but I'm tired of being embarrassed. I'm tired of getting my ass kicked. I'm tired of my family in the Midwest giving me hell. I'm picking Arrowhead. I'm going to Arrowhead, baby, and I'm wearing orange and blue for that one. I know. The same guy that never wears Broncos stuff because I want to be objective and I try to be professional, even though I'm immature and irresponsible and a bunch of other things. I want to go to Arrowhead, Tom. I want to go to Arrowhead. I want to shove it down their throat. I want to let them know that I am still proud to be a member of Broncos country, and I've got family from there, and great people. They're wearing their Chiefs stuff last night at dinner, and I can make a couple jokes, but that's about it. You know what I mean? I don't have a lot of punchlines to get these guys with. So, KB, I'm taking Arrowhead no matter how foolish it may be.
Yeah, that's a great one. But to me, it's so early in the season. I think going out, number one, you can go to a Chargers game and it feels like you're in a home game. So it's kind of more fun that way. But really those last two games may determine if the Broncos can get into the playoffs or not with their AFC West rivals. So, I mean, if you can go to the Chargers game on New Year's Eve and be there with a bunch of other Broncos fans rooting on their team in the
That's a good
opposing
one.
stadium, it'd be fun.
Well, hey, and speaking of fun, Justin Herbert's having fun with that new $52 million contract at 52.6. That's a good one, Tom. I hadn't even thought about that because traditionally football and holidays, right? We think Thanksgiving, and KB's like, look, man, I'm actually mulling over KC on Thursday night primetime or Buffalo Bills on Monday night. Dude, I wouldn't do Buffalo. Why? Because I'm still bitter, and I'll always be bitter when I see Josh Allen. I can't stand seeing him play because he should be here. It was God dang it. I get mad every time I talk about it. I love Josh Allen so much. Either way, KB, I don't think you're picking a loser, man. KC or Buffalo. That's awesome. And speaking of awesome, Kenny Abate is awesome, man. Coming in here, tying a big red bow on our show. Thank you, Kenny. Good evening, fellas. I just wanted to show some love to a very great show. I'll catch the beginning here soon. Thank you, Kenny. We appreciate the kind words. We're always looking to improve too. So if you guys ever feel like you've got any ideas, suggestions, how we can make this show better, please let us know, because this is a fruit of labor. Thomas and I work very hard on it. We talk almost every day about what we're going to do for the show immediately after the next show, usually starting tonight. So we have a lot of fun. None of it's scripted either. We try to give authentic responses. We love to bicker with each other. And if you want to hear Thomas and I fight at training camp, come on out August 1st through the 5th, where we'll be bickering about positions, grouchy and sweaty in the sun. And take a training camp picture with us. Tag us on Twitter. You'll be entered to win for a hat or a t-shirt or any other MHH gear. So Kenny, if you come on out, Broncos country, if you come on out, please give us a shout out. And Dylan saying, I'm going to whichever stadium has the best food. And that's, man, that to me kind of has Texas written all over it, right? I mean, some Texas barbecue. I'm not going to say Tex-Mex because, Tom, you're in New Mexico. I'm in Colorado. We do Mexican food different in our states, the right way. We don't do Tex-Mex. I mean, that's some old BS. But I definitely, I'm a sucker for barbecue, man. I'm a sucker for barbecue, so my head ultimately goes there. And Dylan Von Arks again, man, weighing in. Thank you, DVA, one of our very own. Again, guys, go on over to milehighhuddle.com. Dylan's got an article up about two Broncos who could reach career milestones in the 2023 season. The candidates might surprise you. That's at milehighhuddle.com. Great conversation as always. Everyone in the chat, make sure you share the pod on all platforms and hit that like button on the way out. Please remember, Broncos country, that a little bit truly goes a long way. And Thomas, this is one of the most happening shows that we've had on MHI since you and I have come together. And it's because we are the final show, the final MHI before training camp, man. I mean, it's here. It's here, baby. That's the most wonderful time of the year, and I can't wait. Mike over in Keo coming in here with some more love, dude, saying Broncos country, this is the way. And come on out, say hello to us at training camp. We're looking forward to it. Guys, reach out to Thomas on Twitter. That's at Thomas Hall NFL. Yours truly at Luke Patterson LP. The mothership's at Mile High Huddle. We'd also appreciate a follow for this pod at MHI_pod on Twitter. Leave us a rating wherever you get these pods, and tune in Friday morning. Thomas is going to be rocking and rolling for Legends of Mile High. Concluding, right? Your training camp preview right before you head on out.
Yeah, maybe. I was going to do 3, but I might come up with one more because we missed a lot of stuff that I really wanted to talk about tonight. So
I know. That's why I ask. I'm like, I think you got one more in you, but I'm not going to speak for your show. If you didn't get enough of Thomas on Wednesday or Friday, don't worry. Catch him on prime time, Saturday Night Fever, baby, with Ron White, Orange and Blue View. Those guys will be rocking and rolling at 6 p.m. Mountain. The Huddle Up boys will be back. For Tom. I'm Luke. Saying Broncos Country, you absolutely killed it tonight. We love you. We can't wait to meet you at the meet and greet. We can't wait to see you at training camp. Bring that sunscreen, bring that water, and bring some energy. This is the way.
This is the way.